Our mission at My Veteran Passion MVP is to elevate awareness of veterans' mental health. Through both physical and virtual platforms, we empower our nation's warriors and continue the battle against veteran suicide. Through diverse events, social and virtual gatherings, we provide connections, resources, benefits, and education. MVP was founded to ensure a smooth transition for veterans into civilian life while preserving the camaraderie they cherished during their service. Strong bodies harbor resilient minds. Your support unleashes the true potential of these national heroes. Stand with us in nurturing success and creating a positive environment for mental and physical health alike.
Today and this whole week, we're going to be talking about stressors. You know,
Oh God.
yeah, but being
No,
Monday.
we're gonna go. We're gonna
Oh
go.
no, you need to stay here. No, but what we're going to talk about today, again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Miss Flame Bertman, thank you very much for the amazing news. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your kindness. Today, we're going to be talking about identifying personal stressors. Like, not what you do to de stress, not what's going on to make sure that, like, all right, this is, but how do you identify it? I have a hard problem, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes when I'm tired or whatever, and I don't know what's going on, I go into a meeting and they're like, "Doc, are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? You don't look too good." Like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, but sometimes it's hard for you to identify your own stressors. So, what are some techniques that you guys do or utilize, or how do you guys identify those stressors without you knowing you're being a Doro? Thank you very much, big dog. Pandora. So, how do you identify those stressors yourself? Um, there's a lot of ways that categorically that we have like stressors, right? Family, definitely one stressor. Relationship, talk about another stressor, right? Financial or monetary status, right? Those are big, big stressors. At what point do you see yourself like, yo, all right, why is my hair falling off? Maybe I'm stressed. Why am I overeating? Whatever it is. Where where are you in that process of knowing how to identify something? Uh yeah, thank you, Dora. Appreciate it. Me identifying one of them was the physical stressors, right? Like hair falling off. Maybe you start feeling a little shaky. You're not sleeping well. Like sometimes one sign is not enough. Sometimes people need to see like 12 of them in order to be like, all right, I got a problem. But you're the hardest person to identify issues with yourself because anyone can say like this is not your norm because they're used to being around you. But because you yourself are in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to see the type of storm that you're in when you're in the middle of it. So what are some of those gaugers, those barometers, those, things that you utilize in order to gauge the weather around you?
So I think the first most important thing to being able to identify your stressors is to know yourself first and to be honest with yourself with what actually does stress you out. Everybody's different. Everybody's financial situation is different. Family situation is different, etc. So what may stress one person out may not stress the other person out, right? So it comes down to that deep rooted honesty of being able to be introspective and to look into yourself and be like, does this stress me out? Yes or no? And if so, why? And to investigate those things and to accept them. And what's rough about it is sometimes you will go through sort of like a grieving process when it comes to accepting some bad things, but that's part of it. And I think that with time and practice and therapy and possibly medicine if required, things that would stress you out don't seem to stress you out anymore, you know? But it's one of those
Everyday
things where you
shooter,
can only work
goddamn,
on one
man. Thank you
stressor
for
at a
your
time.
awesomeness.
If you try to
Damn,
take it all
fucking
down
cool,
at
man.
once,
Thank you very much.
you may
You're
have
so
that
awesome.
rubber band
I
effect,
love you too,
and
brother.
you may never feel the ease from stress that you seek. But if you work on your stressors individually, one at a time, you can find yourself some more peace of mind. So,
Um, you said stressors, right?
Mhm.
So how do you identify those stressors?
So for me, like there was a point in time where my hair was falling out in handfuls. I was so stressed. I was at my limit. I was losing myself to it. The stress was consuming me. I wasn't myself. I was in and out of inpatient. It was bad, very bad for me. And it took therapy and medicine for me to get better. But once I got better from those acute issues that I was facing mentally, I was able to start dealing with my stressors again effectively. And for me to feel the ease of stress go away, I have to do something about it. I can't just let it sit there and ruminate and be something stressful that I just don't take care of. So, like for example, like during that time, what was stressing me out the most was I had people I had to evict out of a property I owned, and uh, I didn't. It was they kind of had a sob story like they were recently pregnant, a young couple. I didn't want to kick them out to the curb and leave them homeless. It's hard to find a place to rent if you've been evicted, etc. So I waited until they had a place lined up and then I evicted them because I was going to get kicked out of my place if I didn't evict them. They had really messed like pissed off the HOA that bad. So uh, but yeah, it was really stressful for me because I was trying to do the right thing, but I was trying to look out for them at the same time, but I was the bad guy in all of it. I was the reason why their life sucked, but it was either them or me. And it was really stressful. So, but I didn't do it alone. Like my girlfriend helped me through it. My family helped me through it. Like I would talk to people. It wasn't just me on my own making my own decisions. I had to use the people that I trusted to make it through that process. It was that stressful for me. So, but yeah, I think that if you can learn to be introspective, but also open up to others and others that are empathetic towards your cause, to who you are, stress can be eliminated step by step. And there will be new things that come up that stress you out. That's natural, but there's a way that you can take care of it.
I think you mentioned something very interesting, where it
Hmm.
was not only the physical symptoms that we talked about, but we also talked about, or you talked about, seeking that feedback. Like,
Hmm.
hey, sometimes, and Bob mentioned it earlier, we communicate differently, all of us, right? And it's more common to see some of those similar traits when it comes to categorizing. So as guys and girls, we ask differently. And Bob said it, and I think we're like, oh man, well, I didn't ask about it, even though he was talking about it. I didn't ask him this or that. Sometimes we have to seek feedback because we don't know what we're encountering. This life, this world, it's very different for all of us. We all go through different situations. Who's your diamond dogs, right? Like, who's in that? And if you don't have a group of people that you can trust or something like that, it's part of helping yourself, identifying ways to de-stress or decompress or help yourself. It's by identifying that close group of people that you can talk to, and they can be, you know, as honest with you as possible. Because sometimes your friends can be biased. And sometimes we don't want that. Sometimes we want clarity. And from someone saying, no, you're right. You're doing sometimes you are wrong. You just need someone to believe that this is the reason why and all that stuff and all that, right? Banca put something there very important. Can you tell us about that, Banca? So when Banca posted to your,
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah. So I put some pictures in the chat. They're not the full document. If you could print it in the full document, by all means. But I've been in therapy since about 2013, and when I first went, these were the very first assignments I was given. Um, to start working on the things that were my triggers, right? Because if I'm not triggered, then I'm not stressed is kind of the idea. So kind of figure out what triggers you, and start really processing the things that get you to the level of uncomfortableness, right? Like I had to really sit down and figure out what I was doing to avoid or confront the things that triggered my PTSD symptoms. And so I definitely really encourage anybody who's taking the time to really process. I know I've had conversations with Titan about these, um, and, and he's done some checkups and stuff like that. And I've explained to him like, this is what I'm doing. And if you ever just need guidance, I definitely recommend making an appointment with Titan. He's pretty good about that stuff. Or if not, definitely go to your VA, talk to your mental health department. But yeah, these were the very first assignments that I got, and it really helped me break down the things that I was doing and really take into account, because yes, you can always be looking, what is it, like your PTSD, you could always be very like hyper vigilant, but you're not exactly hyper vigilant for what triggered you, but you are hyper vigilant, so you're trying to figure out what it is, and this really helps to isolate and organize your thoughts, because in those moments you're not thinking clearly. And sometimes I would walk around with my binder. After a while, I didn't have to walk around with my binder. I had like a little journal, and I knew like the process, and I could just write in my journal. And I think I filled up like 3 or 4 of these journals over time within like 2 or 3 years. And it's just a bunch of little things that I realized were bigger things, and they were just broken down more. So once I was finally really able to identify the things that were my triggers, then I could start working on them. So that's what I put in there. I just wanted to share them because I know how much worksheets like that helped me. But of course, they only helped me because I was actively seeking somebody who could guide me through them and definitely talk to me about it. So definitely set an appointment with a professional. It's always helpful.
Yep.
Did they teach you any tips or tricks at identifying the stressors or triggers, or was it something that they led you to and then it became a process for you to discover?
Yes, it became my personal homework because everybody's
Okay.
gonna deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, differently.
Hmm.
No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Definitely. What she's talking about this is it's a stress journal, right? So you start writing down anything that makes you feel a little stressed. Why? Because this is self-awareness. Like you're writing it down. Once you write it down, you read it and you're seeing like, all right, why does this stress me out? So you start logically going through it. This is a big thing that people really do use, is writing down their thoughts, whether it be good thoughts, whether it be your last thought, or whether it be some stressful thoughts. This, like Banca said, you have to actively be seeking the truth in order for this to work for you. Um, Thank you,
And
Banca.
a journal
Yeah,
can
you're
help
welcome.
you.
Also,
Yeah.
one last thing is that once I was able to get this information together, it actually helped me write my personal statement for my VA disability. That personal statement that they ask you for, a lot of people tend to think like, oh, these are the things I think I'm experiencing. But once you really dig deep into these things, you learn the emotional aspects of all of your triggers. And so that aspect really helped me. And I
Mhm.
remember getting actual feedback about how detailed it was, and I really was able to thank the my psychologist that walked me through that. So
Mhm. Journaling is an amazing tool to use for self-help and for expression as well. I bet there's things that used to bother you that you've journaled about that don't really bother you as much anymore. I know that's the fact for me. Journaling has helped me out personally a lot. So,
I think I have like a more of like an old school mindset when it comes to stress. I cut everything out of my life and I slowly add things back, um, which I deem are not as stressful. And then that helps me be like, if it's a person, maybe it's only a person when these two people are together. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes everybody acts differently. I don't care who you are. You act differently when you're around different people. It doesn't like if you say you don't, you just not being honest with yourself. And sometimes it's been a person where when we hang out by ourselves, it's fine. But you get him around another person, like I can't stand you. Like so I'm a big that's what I do is I just go silent. I cut everything out of my life and then I add things back that I know are like safe bets until I realize that like this was the thing that was cutting me out, or sometimes it's a something I have to take care of, like bills or something like that, and I like an old school mindset of like I'll take care of it. I don't want anybody else's opinion on it. I need to solve this problem and take care of it. And once I do, I'm less stressed and I can be around other people because I know because I'm honest with myself. I'm unpleasant to be around when I'm stressed out. I'm absolutely an asshole. Like I don't. I have a short temper. I don't take jokes very well because I'm so stressed out. I just want to be kind of chill and stuff. So I cut everybody out, not only for myself but safety of friendships and others. That I don't want to say something and upset somebody when I'm upset, because then if you say something and then it's just it'll snowball. And um, I so I makes sense, Blanca. Um, and so like so that's the way I tend to do it, and I I just get rid of everything. I just kind of like dump everything out, and then I go back and I stack. I put everything back in, and then once I have found the problem, I try to address it as how can I salvage this without having it bring chaos back to my life. So if it's a person, if it's uh if it's an item or something, I usually just get rid of it. Like I feel like a lot of stress sometimes it does come from other people, and I try to salvage friendships because of that. But I need to figure out what the problem was first, and then I need to figure out if it's worth the effort of salvaging, and if it is, how do we get past that?
Yeah, those lifestyle assessments are paramount to making sure that, like you said, I'm gonna like tomato, but I don't like tomato on my burger. You know what I mean? Like it's just identifying what you're stacking to see if that's a pleasant stack that you have, or if like, hey, I like playing Call of Duty. I just don't like playing Call of Duty with Jay. He's too toxic for me. You know what I mean? Like that happens. You know, you could be enjoying something, but if you're around someone that doesn't enjoy it, it takes away from it. You don't pay no bills.
I'm the most
I
toxic Call of Duty player ever.
I also and I used to have someone in like this in my life, but they were too toxic. But I'm the person in the friend group that I'll tell you what you need to hear. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. If you're like, I have this choice, or why is this going on, or whatever, and it's like, well, it's because you fucked up, And I'm the type of friend that you probably don't want to hear what's gonna come out of my mouth, but it's the truth. It's what you need to hear, and I get labeled as like I'm the asshole friend a lot of times, which is sometimes I guess true. I feel like either you have bedside manner or you don't. Like you could work on it, but sometimes bedside manner is not the best thing, because I feel like some people you can't coddle everybody. And so I used to have somebody like that, and I try to use what they would say, like if they were talking to me, when I try to make decisions where I'm like, "Ah, what is going wrong? Is this me? Am I the problem?" And that kind of realism helps me eliminate a lot of stress super quickly.
Um, college taught me a lot. And what I mean by that is college taught me how to ask for help. Because when I was in the military, like they'll say, all right, go figure it out. Go do this. All right. You had someone without you asking for help at times, they gave you their advice. You know, why? Because it was mission priority. It was paramount. Or part of their team, whatever, right? When you go to college, you don't have anyone that's looking out for you like they did in the military. I felt the loneliest when I was in college because of it. But it taught me how to ask for help. To be specific, that was calculus one. Like, hey, I went up to the problem after what I knew. I didn't get it. I tried it again the second time. If I couldn't get it, I would ask for help. Why? Because I'm just going around in circles biting my own tail. You know? So to me, what I notice is when I start asking for help or when I feel like I should ask for help, that means I'm stressed because I'm used to not asking for help. So for me to go ahead and do that, that's to me an identifier. Like, hey, I'm throwing my hands up. I don't know. You know, I need help. Um, that was a big one for me, you know, and uh, like Bob said, hey, I'm that friend that you might not want this because sometimes we don't ask for it, but we feel like we need to help that person specifically because they need it and they don't know it yet, you know? So, how do you identify yourself of when you need help? What is that triggering moment for you?
I also, um, if you ever like, if you go through something stressful and you don't visit your primary care often, you probably should. It could be something physically wrong with you that is stressing your body out. You have no idea.
Gamers, thank you for that
So
rate, big
it could be
dog,
that too.
man.
So
Thank you
I'm not
very
saying
much.
isn't, make
We're
an
talking
excuse,
about
but
identifying personal
like if you're
stressors
stressed out and you don't know
today.
why,
Happy
like
Monday,
go see a
everyone. Thank
doctor
you for
too,
coming in. This is
because
the
it could
MVP
be some
Morning Mix.
chemical imbalance. It could be something in your like high blood pressure. It could be something in you physically wrong, but you don't know why. You just all of a sudden like everything's going wrong. I get irritated easy. I get this and that, and then it could be something changing in your body, because as everybody gets older, their body changes. No matter how old you're getting, something's changing in your body. So it could be something like that. So cover all your bases, because you never know what could be mentally and or physically happening with you.
Vapi, you couldn't say it better, my man. You know, that's why we're here, you know, to help each other understand what worked for some of us. And you might put that in your own little journal and notebook and say, like, I'm gonna try that out. You know, I'm gonna try not to play Call of Duty with Jay. I'm gonna try to like, you know, hear what Vapi is saying. I need to try to journal, like Bonka said. I need to try to go see a mental health provider. Why? Because your mental health should be like if you're checking your physical health. There should be no difference and should be no stigma to it. It's hard because sometimes, you know, if you say you have some mental health issues and you have an important job or you have kids or something, you might be deemed as like, hey, maybe you can't do this. And that's why a lot of people have problems saying, like, hey, I have an instability, you know? But yeah, it's why we're here to motivate each other, help each other identify and be better. Banana bread.
Banana bread, bro?
Hell yeah.
But like, I'm actually really glad. I mean, it's been time, right? 2013 is a long time ago. To where I find myself, and sometimes it's okay if if you really gotta go like low to figure it out. Cause I did. Like I thought things were all nice and dandy, you know? And then the next thing you know, I'm fucking putting myself in a mental institution to figure my shit out. But I think that one of the best things that I still do to this day is my tub. My tub is my de-stressor area. And it's not so much to have a bath. Like, yes, of course, I love a bath with like the to the nine, you know, like everything. Like fucking go to Target, bougie ass bath.
Yeah.
Um, but even when I'm just stressed, I will sit in an empty bathtub because the space of my tub has become my decompression zone. So, my last two relationships have been kind of hilarious because they can't talk to me. You can't talk. I don't care how fucking mad we are with each other. My tub is my de-stressor zone. And if we're in the midst of a fight or things just aren't going right, I was too mean to them or I was too confrontational with them, whatever it may be, whether my fault or not my fault. Um my tub is my decompression zone. So if I'm having a bad day, say that I quit college 3 times before I finally made it through that shit. But I would get home, like I would literally wake up, try to get to class, show up, fight for parking, find parking, and then be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this today. And I just fucking go home, and I sit in an empty tub, and I decompress. And like that's where I would journal the most was just sitting in an empty tub because that space was my space. Like nobody can freaking touch me in my tub. And I realized that I like to travel and I like to go places and see things. And the one thing that there is always abundance of is a tub. Whether I'm in a hotel, whether um wherever I am, even if it's at a friend's house. Like sometimes I will go, I'll pretend to go to the restroom and sorry, I'm gonna sit in your tub. You might not know it, but I'm gonna go sit in your tub. If it's socially overwhelming, I just need to sit in the tub for just a second because like one of my triggers is cigarette smoke, like just cigarette smoke, right? It always brings back flashbacks a lot of the time still. And so sometimes I just need to go sit in the tub. And I definitely recommend anybody, if you can find yourself a space or a thing that you can always find, like use it. Use the space around you to find your decompression zones. And you might be a person like me who can mask very well in public. Everything's fine, it's totally fine inside dumpster fire. And then the second you get home, you just need those like 10-15 minutes to just find a place, sit in your tub, and just figure out what stressed you out, why did stress you out, and go through the checklist. Go through that checklist I put in there and figure it out until you're calm enough to go. In my case, it was always like I don't want to go scream at my kids because it's not their fault. So I knew that I needed to pull myself from an entire live situation, find my tub, decompress, and then go deal with my children because that's just the way it is. You shouldn't take anything out on the people around you. And I think our children take it the hardest because they're the people that are around you 24/7. They can't escape from you. It's your job to not use
Yo, I
them
seen you
as a
streaming
decompressor.
Diablo earlier, man.
I mean, you said a lot of great things, a lot of powerful things because you found that thing that helps you heal, and that's great. And you found it through, I'm sure, trying and trying and trying. You said it yourself, many years. Thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it. Bear, what's up, Bear? Thank you for. I thought you were following me already, Bear. What did I do to you, bro?
Yeah, I don't
Jesus.
know. I don't. I thought I had followed. Now I looked. I was like, what? But
Damn,
then
bro.
again, then again, yesterday I sent invites to people to join different servers somehow. I don't know how I did that, but I invited like 4 different people, and I looked at my PMs and I was like, wait a minute. I had to send people be like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I don't know how I invited you to this. It wasn't intentional. My apologies.
Well, Bear, today we're talking a little bit more about stressors and not like what helps you, not what what you could do for someone to help them de-stress. No, it's just identifying your own stressor. How do you identify your stressor? It's hard. Like, how do you, like people tell me like, "Hey, doc, you don't, are you all right? You don't look good or whatever." It's like, man, I'm fine, but I know that something's bothering me. Sometimes to me, my social group is my identifier because they're like, "Yo, bro, you're not you anymore. What happened?"
Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I think we all understand generally what what our trauma is, but I think that's almost like a wide perspective um, of what is a stressor, right? I mean, trauma is a stressor, but I think that's the wide. I think that's the category, and the subcategories would be like I think Bonka said, cigarette smoke, right? I, that's a subcategory potentially. For me, I think it's man. I really don't know. I
It's all
haven't
good.
really taken the time to address or identify.
Yeah, no, it's part of, what I think we're doing here is to identifying because you know how it is, you see you learn one, you do one, you teach one, right?
Right, right,
So there's a lot of things that we can identify as like, so as Banca said, keeping a stress journal, sometimes reflecting on what happened. I know that Jay mentioned like physical symptoms, like, hey, you know, I'm losing weight. I'm not doing my regimen of hygiene. I'm not, you know, X, Y, or Z. What are some of those things that like, people telling you like, hey, bro, is everything okay? I haven't seen you stream. Your regular routine gets hindered and people start noticing certain things, right? So that's why I said to me, like, sometimes the feedback that I get from friends and family is to me an identifier of like, bro, you're running on E, like, chill out. Sometimes you need that because sometimes you, like you said, Bear, like, you don't know that you're stressed. You don't know what's stressing you, or you don't know how to identify something that stresses you. You know what I mean? Other than
right, right,
obviously it makes you irritated or it makes you clap back or whatever it is,
right,
but
right.
yeah, we're just talking a little bit more about those physical gaining weight. Gaining weight is a big one for stressors. Like, that's huge for me. Like, I'm 5'7". Like, if I gain 20 pounds, you'll see it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like Vop or Bear that are like a 6'14", like, they don't, it's whatever. You know what I mean? But give me a
Two and a
second,
half.
y'all. I'll be right back. Yeah, but my dog's
A
need to go
6'14". For me, my stomach, I'll get nauseous really bad, and if it's bad enough, I'll start throwing up, and that's how I know like it's super stressful. I was in the hospital for a week one time from all the stress because I couldn't stop throwing up. I lost a lot of weight.
I think it's potentially different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of it has to do with your trauma and the issues that you deal with. How does it change your daily life, your daily walk? I think that's the biggest thing. Um,
I think, yeah. From
as I look at it, I think when we talked, I love people. I love being around people. Um, but my stressor is not knowing what to expect from people. Um, you get around the people that you know, that you enjoy being around, that you trust, and you know what to expect from them. You know how they react. You know how what their humor is, And for me, I have that dark humor. I have that dark sense of humor where not everybody will get it right. So I think I end up stressing. I'm realizing that as I'm saying this that I might be there's a word for it, but what maybe you guys can help me. But when you when you look for somebody else for affirmation, um, and I feel like that's what I'm looking for from other people. Like, um, are they my people or are they not my people? Right? And I end up stressing myself over it so much because I don't want to insult anyone. I don't want. That's not my intention. My intention is not to put someone off and be like, man, I don't want to be around this guy. But at the same time, I kind of do because then that identifies are these the people I want to be around or not. Um, and then in return, I end up stressing myself out completely because I really don't know what I want. I'm almost fighting myself of like I want to find my guys. I want to find my vops. I want to find my docs. I want to find these guys that I know I can joke around and say shit, and it's not gonna hit them personally. They're not gonna come back and attack me. Sun's out, guns out. Uh, shit, man. But
Oh,
hey, I'm sorry, man. Dog got me flustered over here for a
my
minute.
fault, bro.
Shit, man. I'm over here talking about stressors,
Uh,
not turn-ons and shit. Um, but yeah, no. I end up looking at people and I'm like, is this person gonna be offended by it or are they not? Um, and I end up fighting myself more than I do anything else, and I throw myself out of whack, and then I end up telling myself I don't want to be around anyone because I don't want to have to deal with this. That's almost my way of coping, is saying if I remove everybody, I'm no longer having to not to tippy toe. I'm not having to tippy toe, but at the same time, I can also be myself because I don't have anyone to be myself around. And that's not a positive thing either, though, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I used to be like that a lot, and it was really what it boiled down to was fear of rejection, just not being good
Yes.
enough. But then through a lot of therapy and reflection, I'm like, their opinions, thoughts, and emotions on me are theirs to control, not mine. Um, I what I'm in control is of my reactions and how I think of myself and perceive myself. And if what they see doesn't align with what I know, then I know they're not for me. And the quicker I find that out, the better. To be honest, I don't have time anymore to be playing games with anybody.
Bear, I feel so. I learned the same type of thing. Like you might not be everybody's cup of tea. I don't like tea. I'm a whiskey guy myself. That's the type of stuff I like. And once I realized that I stopped worrying about what other people think, like I used to stress out about it so much. Like people like me. Like, did I say the wrong thing? Did I offend somebody? Did I hurt somebody's feelings? Did I act in a manner that like people are going to judge me differently? Like I I worry myself so much. Like, do you know what the average age of a heart attack is? It's 65. I'm 38. I had a heart attack because I stressed out so much over bullshit, over stuff that's not even like, it's not like, it doesn't matter. A lot of those people I was worried about offending, like I don't talk to anymore. I haven't talked to them in 7, 8 years, maybe. I don't know. I don't care. And I'm sure they don't think about me either. If I did offend somebody, it probably goes for like a week and they just forget about it. Something else bothers them and then they focus on that. Like if you worry about stuff so much, like that type of stuff, you isolate yourself and then it turns into such a huge thing, and all because of not being able to handle stress properly. Once you realize that the only stress you can handle is most of it is stress you create yourself. It's what ifs. What if this? What if that? What if this? It's not anything tangible. I think people spend 80% of their day worrying about what ifs that don't even come true. It's just like, oh, I hope I didn't do this or that. Like, if you confronted somebody after having like a heated conversation, 9 out of 10 times they're like, it wasn't even as bad as you thought it is. You hype it up so much, but then you put that stress on yourself and it compounds, and the next thing you know, it physically affects you to the point where, I mean, you could die from it. I mean, just from stressing out about too much stuff.
Exactly. Yep. That was almost me.
That was me.
But yeah, my trigger was like, I didn't realize it at first, but it was my environment and the people in it. And then coming to terms with, these are the people that are supposed to be the closest to you, and you know, it's family, whatnot, and like they're the most heinous to you. It's like, where do you go with that, you know? And then once I removed I you know, came to terms with it and removed myself from the situation, my health has improved drastically, like mental and physical.
So, I mean, you were in it, stepping away, I need to go to my daughter's school, saying chat, people are gonna, oh, thank you very much. Yeah, there, absolutely. So once you identified that it was your environment, let's bring it back a little bit more. How did you identify that it was your environment? Because that's what we're talking about today. Like, how do you identify this? You know, how do you say
Uh,
like,
you know, to be honest,
uh-huh,
I had to be honest with myself,
mm-hmm,
and you know, the person that I married was not who I thought they were, and you know who they had, you know, become and what they were doing to me. Um, I was just, it shouldn't have been like that. You know, it shouldn't be like that. And coming to terms with that in my head, like, this is my husband and he's doing these things to me that, you know, my abusers have done, and he knows about it and he's continually doing it. You know, it's just like, okay, um, I had to do something that I thought was wrong. And I went to a lot of counseling, a lot of pastoral counseling, because I made a commitment before God, for better or for worse, right?
yeah,
But through that counseling, they're like, well, he doesn't condone this abuse that you're going. And I won't get into it, but it was a lot. And easily there, you will not be punished for it. And so when I got that okay, and I was like, that was the last thing holding me back. And I was like, okay, you know, I have to love myself enough to want to live and, you know, do well, flourish in life, not be held back and, you know, held captive from life. And I'm glad I did it. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad I did it. It was the healthiest choice I could have made for myself, as hard as that was. Because we were married for almost 20 years. We were together for like almost 22 years. So I mean, I didn't do that lightly or easy, because it's a, you know, that's a lot to me. That's a huge commitment that you don't just throw away. So I
yeah,
tried everything that I could do to make it work within my power. And when I got to the end of that, and there was, you know, there was a lot of protesting and feet dragging on the other side. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're not wanting this to get better. You say less. You know, if you don't want to respect me and treat me with dignity and respect, you know, I don't need you in my life anymore. And I have a daughter. Like, she was watching this. I don't want her to think it was okay to be treated like this from your partner.
Wow, Rex, that's amazing. Like, you're amazing for doing that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I definitely agree with Bex on that situation. The best way to do it is reflection. You have to look within yourself, because it's not, there's no magic formula for finding the things that stress you out. It really comes down to you, each individual stopping and reflecting on themselves.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
And it's not easy to look at
mm-hmm,
yourself inwards and face some stuff that you don't want to face, realities that you try to, explain away. Oh, it's not that bad, it's not really a red flag, maybe it's pink.
Thank you, Dose. Appreciate you,
It's
my
not totally
man.
red,
Talk a little bit
but
more about
you got to
reflecting and
stop doing that
identifying
and
personal stressors, my man.
be realistic with yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a tough one. That's a really tough one, being real to yourself. You got to be honest to yourself. You're, and I'm not saying you, but all of us, we're quick to like down ourselves, but like how much do you hype yourself up to take a decision that you've been thinking about?
Ooh. That takes, yeah, it was like, if anybody knows me, you know how I feel about jumping out of an airplane, but I mean, it was up there with that.
Wait, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
kidding.
no,
I'm just kidding. But take a page out of every Disney movie, right? We grew up on Disney movies. Be that Disney princess who finds her puddle and like belts a song. Like that's really what you have to do. You have to find your little Disney princess puddle and really like reflect on whatever it is. Because you cannot tell me that you have not seen that happen in every Disney movie. Like we've been training for this.
no.
Find your
Right?
Disney puddle.
You know what? This is the moment, I guess, where I chime in because hilariously, that is so true. As a dad coming out of the military, like raising my kids, it was all about Disney. And I used to use that so much in my talks with my kids, like, you gotta make life your own Disney movie. And my kids eventually got to the point where they're like you, Dad? How do you
Damn.
like? And it's like, yeah. How does one? And I've talked so many other veterans that I would hang out with back in North Carolina would say, how is it that you just transition? Like, it was kind of easy. Like in the military, you kind of get this mentality as an NCO of the mom dad, and then you kind of carry that over with your kids. But they're mini Marines. You can't treat them the exact same, but you got to motivate them. You got to find out what their buttons are, because if you're a good NCO, you can't yell at every Marine. Some of
Hmm.
them you do gotta put your arm around them and be like, "What's up, little bro? What's going on? Talk to me." So, turning life into your own Disney movie is completely what you gotta do nowadays.
I mean, yeah, you have to experiment with different things, right? You got to experiment with thoughts. You have to make sure that some of your actions, how they change, are they for the better or worse? Like Bob was saying, you have to isolate and identify at times what's creating this ripple. Dio says we are our biggest critics, and we are our own biggest critics. Yeah, absolutely, we are, man. Like it's hard for us to look at us and try to, because when we take actions it's because we've already internalized that as a justified action, so sometimes it's hard for us to hear that we're wrong, but this is positive, this is motivating, this is a way where you hear it a lot of us, hey, I don't know how to identify a stressor, I don't, but that's why we do this, because we're stressed for sure. Bob said it, like, yo, I'm having issues like physical. They're expressing themselves physically. Losing hair. Heart issues. Those are things that, like, if you don't start identifying things in your life that are creating this drama, then you're going to continue to have it. But that's why we're here, so we can help each other identify what it is and what's the next step to take in order for us to be better. It's not going to make us perfect. It's just going to get you in a better place than where you are right now. And it might hurt. It might be like, yo, this is different change. I don't like it. We get it. But life is about change. Life is about understanding and being that moldable, be like clay, you know, be able to be molded and such. So, last thoughts before we go into the morning mix raffle.
Water off a duck's back.
Like
So
that.
you let that stress, it'll sink you. It'll
Don't be a
sink.
brick. Be a sponge.
Be a sponge. I like that.
Be Jet Li.
I guess when someone offers you a hey, are you okay? It's because they might see that you're not in your brightest light. And maybe take that as a with a pinch of salt and talk to that person, you know, privately or in public, however you like to do things, and ask like, "Hey, why'd you say that?" Maybe they can help you identify something that you're not identifying. That happens a lot, you know. So
Yep. My rule is if I don't think someone's okay, I ask twice. Are you good, man? Yeah. No. I mean, are you really good? Like that's my. I'm not asking as pleasantries. I'm asking because I care. Like so, if I ask you again, a lot of times people are like, "What?" Like I legit really care if you're okay or not right now. Like it's not just a checking in on you thing. Like if I ask you, I go that extra time just to be like, I'm genuinely asking, not like feel obligated to see if you're okay.
thank you for that, Vops. Appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna do the MVP Morning Mix raffle. It's a $10 gift card that we raffle out to everyone that's here, and for those that are streaming, if you want to put people that have been chatting on your stream, add them to this, so we could, you know, give them the same opportunity. They've been motivating us. They've been helping us out. Let's put them in there as well.
That's right. That's right. Bonka gets it. Bonka gets it.
There's a movie I watched last night. It's about it is the quote or the guy asked like, yeah, think about it. What would they do in the uh Fast and Furious movies? The girl's like, what? WWVD. What? What would Vin Diesel do? Oh, that was funny. But anyways, anyone streaming that wants to put their viewers into the raffle?
We got the roughly the same people.
Awesomeness. Going once. Going twice. Miss Plum, spin that wheel.
What? Plum's here?
Whoop whoop. Always. Oh, Liz James. Lisa. Hey, thank you for being here. You know, Bullet, make sure you let them know. It's awesome that they won. They're in here checking in. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
And we're happy, man. Again, everyone, thank you for being here. Really appreciate y'all. This was awesome. This is Monday. You know, we're gonna continue to push through with one another. We're gonna motivate one another, and we're gonna go play Call of Duty. That's what we're gonna go do. Ain't that right, Jay?
Sir, yes, sir.
Bro, you just dragged Jay through this whole meeting about how it's so hard to be in his lobbies.
No, you said I was toxic.
Yeah, there it is.
I didn't say anything about my lobby. You said I was
Way
toxic.
better.
I do shoot bodies after I do.
I love it. I love it. What are you talking
I
about?
do. I'm a little toxic. To exert the dominance, you know?
Yeah, you have to. The tears. Don't forget the tears.
Yeah, the tears and the thumbs.
All right.
Owen and noobs.
Yeah. Dio says, I'm certain count is counterintuitive. Shooter with the 73 people raid, man. Thank you very much. Appreciated. This is the MVP Morning Mix. We're going to go ahead and roll the MVP video. Again, thank you everyone for your kindness. And we'll see y'all on Wednesday. We're going to go game a little bit. Later, y'all.
Wednesday and let's go play.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
stop what you're doing right now and check this out. Our mission at My Veteran Passion MVP is to elevate awareness of veterans' mental health. Through both physical and virtual platforms, we empower our nation's warriors and continue the battle against veteran suicide to ensure a smooth transition for veterans into civilian life while preserving the camaraderie they cherished during their service. Through diverse events, social and virtual gatherings, we provide connections, resources, benefits, and education.
Got one.
And as I've
Strong bodies harbor resilient minds. Your support unleashes the true potential of these national heroes. Stand with us in nurturing success and creating a positive environment for mental and physical health alike.
Welcome back, y'all. Sorry about that. Let me put my camera on.